Hello, I'm Cheryl Peterson with Healing Science Today. This is a sermon that I gave at a church in Oneonta, New York. It's titled, Facts or Fiction? As you know, facts are true and fiction is not. But often we come across times when fact becomes fiction or fiction becomes fact. 100 years ago, it was a fact that our bodies were absolutely solid. Today, we know that's fiction. Radio waves and neutrinos travel through our bodies as if they don't exist. Then we have cell phones. Not too long ago, cell phones were complete fiction. Today, almost everyone has a cell phone. When facts and fiction blur, we are urged to look deeper for the truth. I recently traveled to Copenhagen, Denmark, and toured the Medical Museum. The tour guide led a group of us through the history of how science has described human beings. The guide admitted that although our knowledge develops, it still remains incomplete. She told us, researchers now know, though, that human beings are more than chemicals and particles. Science not only looks to the body, but also to the mind for answers. I also look to mind, but not really. I look to a concept of mind different from the human mind. I call this concept the all-knowing divine mind, or God for short. I got this term, the all-knowing mind, from my religious upbringing by reading the book Science and Health by Mary Baker Eddy, written in the 19th century. This same mind concept, however, has been around forever, throughout history and cultures. It's a force that never stops knowing what is true. After I'd moved out of the house, got married, and had children, I was talking with my mom. We were in her kitchen discussing how to cook rice, when out of the blue, she tells me, "Oh, Cheryl, I'm going to get plastic surgery done on my eyelids. I think they're really ugly." I blurted, "You're not ugly." She looked at me. I looked at her. This wasn't a case of fact and fiction changing places. This was a case of facts conflicting. We were quiet. Then she changed the subject and started telling me about how she was going to repair a cabinet. I sat there, pretending to listen, and wondered, great, am I supposed to reverse our roles and parent her with the fact that using a knife on the eyelids doesn't sound all that smart, especially for vanity reasons? Also flashed before my mind were memories of not all that long ago when I was getting ready for school in the morning. Me, the teenager, standing in front of the mirror, applying eyeshadow and mascara while listening to the top 40 blare out the radio. Mom walked by and said, "Cheryl, true beauty comes from within." "What?" was all she got from me. Her statement didn't directly get my attention. It was up against the propaganda that cosmetics make me beautiful. And it had the competition of Barry Manilow singing, "I write the songs that make the whole world sing." But the statement about true beauty apparently had sticking power. It had an unbroken influence that carried itself over to that day I was sitting with Mom in her kitchen. I felt it. I felt Mom radiate a beauty that I attribute to a mindful perseverance and compassion that raised 5 children who loved one another in spirit. She was always beautiful. This realization overstepped my desire to straighten her out with my facts about plastic surgery. Mom finished her dissertation on cabinet repair, and I said it was time for me to go home. After the plastic surgery, Mom looked the same to me. True beauty. I knew it. The best part? Conflicting facts don't have to ruin a relationship. I began developing a strong conviction that the all-knowing mind knows only that which promotes life and love. I'm convinced we can know what is true when we need to. However, my conviction, or optimism as it has been called, can look like fiction when I'm afraid or bossy. So I struggle to become more familiar with the all-knowing. I believe in divine mind, or God. That is a fact. But I don't believe in the punishing, temperamental, ambivalent God talked about freely in, say, the Bible. In fact, many parts of the Bible are pure fiction to me. Eventually I discovered that's okay, because I can still learn what is true, no matter what facts or fictions are involved. Let's take the Bible story about Daniel and the lion's den. It doesn't matter to me whether the story is fact or not. It's the underlying influence that has true meaning. The story talks about King Darius, Daniel, and some hungry lions. King Darius believed he was of superior stock. Self-importance was his fact. He made a decree telling the people they had to look to him for answers and insights. "You must bow down to me," Darius commanded. Well, Daniel saw things differently. He preferred to look to his God for answers. I doubt he was trying to annoy Darius, but Daniel didn't bow down to the king. King Darius? Well, he got PO'd by Daniel's attitude. Darius demanded his soldiers to throw Daniel into a den of hungry lions. But the lions didn't eat Daniel. Soon enough, King Darius allowed Daniel to come out of the den, and then Darius pronounced a new decree. The people of the land were to obey Daniel's living God. Living? I like this. God knows living truth. The living truth is different from facts that become data or statistics. Data can be measured or lost, while what is true can't. It goes on, and it can't really be hidden, even if it seems like it. When we lived in Washington State, I was the manager of a large farmer's market. We could have 70 vendors and thousands of customers on Saturday mornings. The market was located on a large parking lot with some spaces under permanent roofing. The steady farmers were given the privilege of selling under the roof that protected them from the hot desert sun. But one steady farmer, Donna, asked for a corner spot outside the shelter. It was a novel idea, and of course, I assigned it to her because no one else wanted it. So what happened? Within a month, a few farmers came to me to complain about Donna. They essentially criticized my managerial decision. But as manager, I knew discontent within the workforce wasn't healthy. So I figured I better recheck the facts. Donna was professional. Her product was high quality. She kept it protected from the sun with a temporary covering. Her prices were fair, and she was busy. Customers flocked to her corner space because it was easily accessible. My collection of facts, though, didn't resolve the issue. So I stopped to ask myself, what does the all-knowing mind know? My reasoning went like this. The all-knowing doesn't know Donna's space, and it can't know discontent. Otherwise, it would have to stop knowing the good idea of contentment. Contentment. That was my answer, because I could trace it back to the all-knowing mind. I took a mental stand with true contentment and acted on it while doing other parts of my job. It then struck me that the other farmers were jealous. They thought I'd given Donna an upper hand. They saw Donna out there in the corner surrounded by customers. I saw Donna sweating. I didn't want to argue these facts. Even if the culprit was jealousy, it wasn't an answer. It was only a fact in human mind. Whereas the all-knowing mind doesn't know jealousy. If it did, it would have to stop knowing contentment. And spiritual contentment was the answer. When I went to report to the other farmers, it occurred to me to ask them, would you like to move out and sell on the corner also? I could see the wheels turning in their heads. They soon admitted, oh, no, we want to sell under the shade. They saw their contentment. I never heard another complaint from Donna. Truth is knowable and safe because it is in the care of the all-knowing mind. This makes me want to study divine mind rather than study how the human mind works. This isn't to say that knowing how the human mind works is a waste of time. We want to be aware of where ourselves and others are coming from. But I think that awareness is more accurate when it's grounded in a strong impulse to get our answers and insights from the all-knowing. I'll show you what I mean. This is a diagram of my knowledge. I move forward, make mistakes, go backwards. This is where I get my facts and fictions mixed up, get a little clarity, move ahead, backwards, or basically repeat myself. 7 billion other people have different diagrams. Let's just look at a few. Have you ever met someone who has an enormously complicated life? Their diagram is all over the board. Or there's the person who just seems to go in circles with their facts and fiction. Or have you bumped into someone you haven't seen in 20 years? You start talking and listening. You leave the conversation and realize, wow, they haven't changed a bit. Their diagram is kind of simple. Then I meet a great number of people, children and adults alike, who are brilliant. Not IQ brilliant, but spiritually brilliant. They probably have ups and downs, but I see their diagram as straight, pleasant, forward-moving. They inspire me. Altogether, it looks like this. We may be able to dive into this and straighten out the facts and fictions, but we won't find what is true. We won't find living truths in our limited knowledge tied to time, personalities, or anything measurable. I find what is true within the all-knowing mind, knowing true, good ideas. An all-knowing presence doesn't mean there will be a day when we know it all. The truth is fluid, ongoing. It practically grows. The all-knowing presence allows us to know what is true when we need to. Let's take the time when I fell in love. I remember it. It was a fact. I was giddy, overjoyed, and blinder than a bat. I only saw good until fact turned to fiction and I fell out of love. I had to work hard to quiet my emotions. I told myself this predicament wasn't about me. It was about the all-knowing. What does God know about love? To know love continuously is to pour forth love without ceasing, no matter who is out there. Love doesn't need a person or object out there. Click. The light bulb went on. Cheryl, there is no out there. There is no outside the all-knowing. Love is all, always known. I took a mental stand with that truth and fell back in love. I knew it. I'll read a verse from the book Isaiah. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Living truths are known. We may not know all the facts, but we can still know what is true when we need to. I'm pretty sure of it.